In the quiet hush before the cameras rolled, a former football player from Ohio became a household name, while a young immigrant girl from Toronto prepared to leave an indelible mark on Hollywood. How did two people from such different worlds end up building one of the most admired and enduring love stories in show business? And how could two lives filled with success, beauty, and passion be so deeply shaped by pain, illness, and unimaginable loss? The story of Robert Urich and Heather Menzies is far more than a tale of Hollywood glamour. It's a deeply human account of love, struggle, and the kind of resilience that leaves a legacy far beyond the screen. Robert Urich didn't grow up with dreams of red carpets or television sets. Born in Ohio, his early years were shaped more by football fields than film scripts. He had no connections in Hollywood, no family in the business, and yet, something about his natural charm and drive caught the attention of those who mattered. His big break came thanks to Burt Reynolds, who saw something in him others had overlooked. That chance turned into his role in the 1975 series S.W.T. as Officer Jim Street, a part that made Robert a recognizable face in millions of households. Although the series was short-lived, criticized for its violent content, Robert had made his mark. More importantly, he'd proven he had the presence and ability to carry a show, a skill that would define the rest of his career. Just a few years later, Robert would land the role that cemented his status as a television icon. From 1978 to 1981, he starred as Private Detective Dan Tana in Vega/Dollar. With his signature red 1957 Ford Thunderbird and crisp style, Robert captured the imagination of a generation. It wasn't just the flashy cars or Las Vegas scenery, it was his charisma, the way he made a character feel real and magnetic. The role earned him 2 Golden Globe nominations and opened the door to a remarkable career that would span nearly 3 decades and 15 different TV series. From gritty crime dramas to westerns, espionage thrillers to lighthearted soaps, Robert became a master of versatility. One of his most beloved roles came in Spencer, for Hire, where he played a justice-driven detective navigating the streets of Boston. Filming during the harsh winters was no easy task, but Robert's commitment and performance turned the show into a fan favorite. And when he stepped into the world of documentary hosting for National Geographic Explorer, his genuine voice and grounded presence earned him awards and accolades, proving that his talents extended far beyond acting. While Robert's career was taking shape, Heather Menzies was already part of cinematic history. At just 14 years old, she was cast as Louisa Von Trapp in the iconic 1965 film, The Sound of Music. The movie wasn't just a hit, it was a cultural phenomenon that resonated across generations and continents. Heather, with her natural sweetness and quiet confidence, became part of that global legacy. But her path wasn't handed to her. Born in Toronto to Scottish immigrant parents who faced deep financial struggles, Heather learned early on how to adapt, how to survive, and how to keep moving forward no matter what. She moved frequently, shifting between countries and identities, developing the kind of strength that would later define her public and private life. Behind the charming smile and graceful movements, Heather was fiercely independent. She refused to be boxed into the role of a child star. In 1973, she made headlines by posing for Playboy, a bold and controversial decision that shocked many but firmly declared her agency as a woman ready to shape her own image. She ventured into horror, starring in cult classics like Piranha, and took on television roles that pushed against studio expectations, like her rebellious character Jessica Six in Logan's Run. Heather wasn't just trying to stay relevant. She was carving out a space for women to evolve in Hollywood, to demand more than typecasting and easy labels. Their paths collided in 1974 on the set of a Libby's canned hash commercial. Cast as a married couple, Robert and Heather's chemistry was instant, but what started as an on-screen pairing quickly turned into something far more real. Just months later, they married. In an industry often defined by fleeting romances and public drama, their 27-year union stood as a rare beacon of sincerity and stability. They weren't without personal baggage. Robert had quietly ended a past marriage, and Heather was recovering from a previous relationship. But together, they built something remarkable. Robert made it a point to involve Heather in his professional life, helping her land roles in Vega/Dollar and Spencer for Hire. Their connection was grounded in mutual respect, laughter, and an unwavering commitment to each other's happiness. Yet, behind the success and admiration, they faced quiet heartbreaks few ever knew. Over the course of their marriage, Heather suffered 3 miscarriages in a row, each one a devastating blow to their hopes of building a family. Rather than allow grief to divide them, they leaned into love, eventually choosing to adopt 3 children over the years: Ryan, Emily, and Allison. Each child arrived years apart, giving them the time and space to offer individualized care and attention. Robert, often seen as the dashing hero on screen, was a deeply nurturing and hands-on father at home. Unusual for the time, he added contract clauses allowing him to attend school events, doctor appointments, and milestones. He wasn't just playing a good man on TV, he was one in real life. In 1996, everything changed. At the peak of his health, while filming a new show called The Lazarus Man, Robert received a diagnosis that felt like a punch to the gut: synovial sarcoma, a rare and aggressive form of cancer. He underwent exhausting chemotherapy and radiation treatments, along with multiple surgeries. The cancer altered not only his body but also his career trajectory. Despite promising ratings, The Lazarus Man was canceled without warning, leaving him not just battling illness, but grieving a dream cut short. But Robert didn't give in. By 1998, he achieved a brief remission and went on to fulfill another ambition, performing as Billy Flynn in the Broadway musical Chicago. It wasn't easy. The treatments had left him physically limited, but his passion was greater than his pain. He also became a powerful voice in cancer advocacy, using his platform to raise awareness and support for research. He and Heather created the Robert Urich Foundation, turning their private struggle into a public mission to help others. Sadly, in 2001, the cancer returned, this time without hope. Robert kept working almost until the very end, maintaining dignity, strength, and an unbreakable devotion to his family. He passed away in 2002, surrounded by Heather and their children. His death wasn't just a loss to television or film, it was a profound loss of a man who represented loyalty, courage, and humility. For Heather, the years after Robert's passing were filled with both strength and sorrow. She remained active in cancer advocacy and raised their children with fierce dedication. Her love for Robert remained a constant, but life demanded more resilience. Then, in 2017, tragedy returned with cruel timing. 15 years after Robert's death, Heather was diagnosed with glioblastoma multiforme, an aggressive and often untreatable brain cancer. It came out of nowhere and moved fast. The woman who had spent decades raising awareness for cancer, who had helped others fight their battles, now faced one she could not win. Her decline was swift. Friends and family were stunned by how quickly her vibrant energy faded. On Christmas Eve 2017, at the exact time of day Robert had passed, Heather died, held by the children they had so lovingly raised. Their story didn't end on a movie screen or in a magazine. It lived on in the strength they passed to their children, in the work they did to help others, and in the undeniable impact they left on millions. Robert Urich and Heather Menzies didn't just play roles, they lived them. They defied the stereotypes of Hollywood love, offering instead a quiet, consistent, powerful partnership. Their lives were touched by immense joy and equally immense sorrow, but through it all, they remained true to themselves and to each other. In the end, their legacy is more than awards or box office numbers. It's about the courage to keep going when life gets hard, the willingness to love deeply even when it hurts, and the grace to turn personal tragedy into something that helps others. They may be gone, but their story continues to inspire. If this touched you, remember to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more stories of love, loss, and the remarkable lives behind the spotlight.